In this video, I'm going to give you an introduction to the PO-32 and show you the basics on how to use it. This is a two-part video, with the second part being a more in-depth tutorial covering more ways to control it. So, Teenage Engineering's Pocket Operator 32 is a credit card size electronic drum machine that allows you to create beats on the go. It was released in late 2017 at a price around £90, and that price still stands. It's more expensive than previous pocket operators due to the fact that this one has an inbuilt microphone that allows you to import other sounds and kits via the Tonic software. This is a separate piece of software that is bought. Unfortunately, I never knew this when buying the pocket operator in the first place. That's around £80 for the Tonic software, but don't let that put you off, because this pocket operator is still a handy piece of kit and very inspirational, coming up with beats on the go and transferring this to your DAW, not directly. I'll show you that later on, but you could kind of see the patterns and the steps. You could also transfer digital information to a recording device, your mobile phone. Basically, that's to save patterns and sounds that you've made, so you don't run out of the amount of patterns you could have, which is a handy feature. So first thing, we'll have a look at the pocket operator, see what it's got. First of all, we've got two 1/8 inch audio data ports on the top left and top right hand side. The top left is your input for connecting up other pocket operators to work in sync with your PO-32. Also, you could plug in other instruments such as vocal beats to have chords and that playing along with the beats that you create on this, which is a good feature that I've not had a chance to use yet. On the right hand side, we've got an audio output. This is for your headphones, earphones, or plugging it into your audio interface to play the sounds through your monitor speakers. You could also plug it in to your audio interface and then record audio into your DAW of choice. This is good for making sample packs or putting beats into your productions and that, which is good. We've got an LCD display here, which isn't currently lit up because I've not got the batteries in it yet. We've got a lock tab here on the top left. You break this off to freeze all the patterns currently in the pocket operator at the time, but don't worry if you accidentally break this. You could undo this and solder the two golden pads at the back here next to my thumb back together, and this will essentially just be the same as having the lock tab back on. You could also buy protective cases for your pocket operators. They come in price around £25 on Amazon. I guess this just makes them more robust, and they're more simple looking rather than the retro look of this, which I quite like. Yeah, but as long as you don't drop it or stand on it, I'm sure it'll be fine. You've got a few bits of information on the back, transferring data, receiving data, and duplicating patterns. But in terms of being intuitive, you need to kind of learn it. It's not got much information that you could get from just looking at it, so hopefully this video will help you with that. And on the front, we've got 23 buttons in total, 16 of which are your main sounds and also serve as your step sequencer. Your sounds are put into 4 choke groups. This is shown by the white lines that are breaking up these choke groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. What choke group is basically, if you have one sound playing and play another, it will cut that first sound off. So, for example, if you have an open hi-hat, the sustain of the open hi-hat will be cut off by, say, a closed hi-hat, which is good in terms of creativity for the pocket operator. You've got 2 control encoders here, 2 control knobs, A and B. These are used for different functions, changing the pitch of your sound on the left, A, and then B, changing the timbre of your sound, or the sustain of a sound. I'll show you that once we'll plug it in. Yeah, but first thing, I'll need to put in the batteries. You need 2 AAA the batteries to get this thing working. So we'll stick these in. Right, so I've got, you can see the LCD display is lit up just now, and we've got a prompt at the top right hand side to set the time. So I'll do that just now. And then press sound for that to be saved. So there we go, that's saved. You can only do this by putting the batteries in. It's a handy little feature. So we'll plug this in. Right, okay, so we've got the pocket operator plugged in now to an audio interface. So we could hear what's going on. Right, so basic functions of this. The LCD screen will move to the beats that you make. So what we've got our 16 sounds to begin with. Which are quite interesting sounds that can be changed via the A and B encoders here. And just even playing about with these things feels so good. It's pretty sweet sound if you get from it. And that's the choke group thing I was on about. Right, that's cutting off the sustain of the first sound. It's handy for when you make complex little patterns. Right, okay, so to start off with the sound button, if you hold the sound button, you'll see lights plus a flashing light. The light that's flashing is your currently selected sound. So that sound is selected. And you can select this either just by playing it or going into sound and pressing it. It'll essentially do the same thing. The other red lights are the sounds that you've got step sequenced into that certain pattern. So for example, this is, see what this sound is. We've got perform mode, the snare. If you go edit mode, it will show the step sequencer and what steps I've got put in on the snare sound. Okay, so we've got that. To display the battery life you've actually got in your PO-32, you hold sound and hold BPM, and in the top right hand side corner it'll tell you the percentage of the battery you've got left. And the batteries last for a long time, because I've had this for maybe a month and it's at 96% of the same batteries. To moving on to the pattern button, same kind of thing. Right, we've got all the pads are lit up, and the flashing one is the currently selected pattern that will play. So you can choose different patterns. Right, okay, so that's that for the pattern button. Select your patterns, make different ones. Moving on to the BPM button. If you hold the BPM button, it'll show your master volume in terms of how many lights are lit up. So mine's is at max volume. This will be 50%. 8 steps lit up. 12 is usually a good kind of in between point. So that's good to set up your master volume first thing, so you could hear what you're doing. If you toggle the BPM button, however, this changes the tempo that the pattern's playing at. Excuse me. And the first one you come across is hip hop, which is at 80 BPM. This is good for obviously hip hop type tracks, trap, making triplet beats and slower type stuff, if that's what you're into. Toggle again, it'll change to disco at 120. This is more house based type music. This is the one I use quite a lot. And if you toggle again, we've got Tencho, which is a take on techno, I guess. 140, you could write like hard house, dubstep type tracks, techno type tracks obviously. But if these BPMs don't suit you, these preset ones, you could hold the BPM button and turning the B encoder knob, you could change the BPM. I think from 60 being the lowest to 240 the highest. I'm sure within that range you'll find something you could come up with. It's quite a big range, I guess. Right, okay, so that's that. We've got our sounds, top buttons, So the right hand side section, we've got the first one is ACC, which stands for accent. As you have to enter edit mode, which is displayed with EDT and a small square on the top left hand side, to actually use the accent. So we'll have a sequence play through, and then if you add accent onto certain steps, then it'll saturate that step and give it more character. It's quite a handy feature to give it more variation. Next we've got the effects, which is a great button to press. You could come up with so many different cool, weird sounds, record them into your patterns, depending on which mode you're in. So perform mode, it doesn't record the sounds, which is good, so you could jam over the top of the pattern that you've made. So we'll listen to what some of these effects sound like. Yeah, effects are really good sounding. And last but not least, we've got our right button here, down the bottom right hand side, and this toggles between edit mode, which is represented by the little square, and perform mode. So perform mode is for jamming on auditioning sounds. So you could change your sounds in audition mode, jamming, to change your sounds, to alter the sounds that have come standard. The A encoder is for the pitch of the sound. Changing that will change the pitch relatively, and the B encoders is for the timbre or sustain of that sound. So you get shorter sounds if it's lower, longer ones if it's higher. Yeah, so that's that. But edit mode, that puts you into the step sequencer of your 16 buttons here, and you'll see whatever sound I've got selected, which is the kick drum here top left. You'll see I've got 3 kicks on 3 beats here for this selected pattern. So switching between these two modes, you'll see the lights change. Perform mode, the lights go out, so we could audition things, come up with anything. And then edit mode, it will actually punch in them patterns to the selected sound. So this is good for visual feedback, and getting to know the difference between these two modes is the key thing, I guess, for when you're actually coming to make patterns and add effects and stuff. But yeah, that's basically it for the introduction to this. Thanks for watching the video. If it's helped you, give it a like and stay tuned for the next video. Thanks very much.